I forgot to bring my laptop out and try and get a color cover of this, but maybe this will serve. This was one of the issues of Weird Tales, where today's book originally appeared in as a serial. Um, I think it was October and December. I don't know if it was bi-monthly magazine at this time, so it might have been over 3 issues or two. Anyway, you could see that they had Weird Tales had a reprint of Phantom of the Opera as their cover story. Seabury Quinn, Edmund Hamilton, Robert E. Howard is listed third, and this is for his serial novella called Skullface. I'm not off to a great start with Cimmerian September because the first book I read, Conan the Rebel by Poul Anderson, a pastiche, wasn't very good, and I have to say this Skullface is not what you want to read to get into Howard. I didn't enjoy it that much. It was okay. It was very much a purely a purely pulp story. Now, of course, you could say all of Howard's work was published in the pulp, so they're all pulp stories. But Skullface was published the same year, I believe. Towards the same year, I believe that Cull, the first Cull story, was published, which means the invention, more or less, of the modern sword and sorcery genre, and years before the Conan stories started being published. So it's early work. If it was 29, if he wrote it in 29, he might have even written it earlier. He was no more than 23 years old. So I got to give him something of a break. It is very much a standard kind of pulp trope and pre-pulp trope of a person becomes under mind control of a nefarious villain, Asian villain who uses him as kind of a zombie or a golem or something to go out and commit crimes for him. And I can't tell you how many things I've read with this kind of premise. I think it was very popular at the time. You see it in movies from the 30s, from the 20s and 30s, from serials, and of course from Sax Rohmer type books, Fu Manchu. This one, it starts out quite interesting. There's a character named Stephen Costigan, which is apparently not, according to Wikipedia, the same Steve Costigan who is in the boxing stories that Howard was writing at the same time or later. Um, I guess he just liked the sound of the name. It's quite the beginning is quite interesting. It sets a great mood. It almost starts out kind of a Cthulhu-esque. I mean, a Cthulhu mythos kind of thing. The character is I guess you'd say he's kind of a typical modern pulp adventurer guy. However, he happens to be addicted to opium, and his life has pretty much been destroyed. And this is in the Limehouse district of London. You know, real Fu Manchu territory there. He he has a vision of this fiery skull face and a beautiful woman standing behind it, and he gets, after his vision, he leaves. Next time he comes back to the opium den, he's thrown out because he doesn't have any money anymore, and then eventually he's brought in and given a chance to be cured of his opium if he does a few things that this presence who dwells in the opium house wants him to do. Then he's given some wine, which he's told is just harmless wine, just to steady his nerves. But anyway, he then they keep him in the opium house and they feed him and they bring him back to health, and he's cured of his opium addiction. Actually, he's been dosed with something else that counteracts, so he's addicted to something else. This other elixir that prevents him from, but which enables him to act like a normal person, a non-drug addicted person. So he knows he has, and he's trying to fight back against the crimes he's being pressured to commit. He gains some allies and that kind of thing. So it was enjoyable enough read. I thought it was going to be more of a horror story, more of a Cthulhu mythos horror story. Like I said, the opening chapters are really good. It just sort of bogs down into standard pulp crime hijinks after a while. So I would not start there if you're new to Conan. I'm gonna read next. I'm gonna continue Cimmerian September and Randy Ray's Texas Book Club, which I don't think that's the name of it, but with the Solomon Kane stories. So I may get to a couple of those today. I've got a couple other shorty books I read that I'll do videos for, I suppose. But that's it for now. I wish I could recommend it. I wish I had better news about. But you know, it's interesting to see a young writer develop. He wasn't able to develop very much further because, well, he developed a lot much further, I should say, considering the few years he had to live. You know, think about it. He published this when he was 23. He wrote everything else that he ever wrote by the age of 30, because that's when he offed himself, which is very sad. Kind of colors a lot of his work. I guess not for most people, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll plot his growth and I'll get back to you. Okay, that's it.